Here are 10 roads you would never want to drive on. Number 10. Austrian Road, Kazakhstan. Okay, I failed geography, but I feel like there's a discrepancy there. No, this isn't a road that links Kazakhstan to Austria. Rather, this 37-mile road is named after the Austro-Hungarian POWs who constructed it between 1915 and 1917. This unpaved track takes drivers from the 990-meter-high Bukhtarma Valley up to the 2,137-meter-high Bukharsky Pass in eastern Kazakhstan. The scene surrounding this road is simply breathtaking, offering incredible views of the Karakoba River. However, knowing the fact that this unpaved road built by prisoners using nothing but picks, axes, and a lot of elbow grease does take away a little bit from the experience. That, and plus the fact that the road could collapse at any time. Not good, especially if on one side of the road is a sheer cliff. You also get to traverse across a few dilapidated bridges along the way, which, by the way, regularly fall into disrepair, which often makes this route impossible to cross. Want to try your luck and feel the thrill that this road would give you? Make sure to check the weather forecast first. If you get caught in a rainstorm here, you might fall victim to one of the many landslides that have been known to happen without warning. Number 9. Skipper's Canyon Road, New Zealand. The Skipper's Canyon Road in New Zealand was built to replace an old road due to unsafe conditions. But try traversing this 16.5-mile stretch of mostly unpaved path and you'll definitely see that it isn't much of a safety upgrade. It was built to replace an old miner's road that led to and from Skipper's Canyon when it became a popular gold mining area. And while the new road still takes hundreds of lives each year, it's relatively safer than what miners had to make do with before. It took 7 years to carve this gorgeous and frightening road out of the cliff face. It was completed in 1890, and many sections of the road remain the same today as they were then, narrow and unpaved, lacking guardrails to prevent you from tumbling down the steep cliffs. You know, standard stuff. Today, the road is frequented mostly by tour buses and adventure companies. Number 8. Taroko Gorge Road, Taiwan. In the Aboriginal Truku tribe's language, Taroko means magnificent and splendid, which is a very apt name, especially if you take in the scenery when driving along this road, and you'll probably tell your friends back home all about it once you get back. That is, if you get back. This gorge road is made up of a series of tunnels carved into a mountain along the Taiwanese Grand Canyon, connecting the east and west coast of the country through sharp turns, narrow paths, and blind curves. The place is notoriously accident-prone, so you have to keep your wits about you when driving on it. One major accident occurred in 2012, when a driver and 13 tourists narrowly escaped with their lives when their bus failed to climb an incline in the road. Taroko Gorge Road is also prone to earthquakes and typhoons that lead to rockfalls, which may also complicate your journey along this really treacherous route. Number 7. Svalvolga Road, Iceland. Also known as Route 622, the 13-mile Svalvolga Road offers its travelers stunning views of northwestern Icelandic coastline. The road acts as the link between the territories of Thingeyri to Lokenhammer and was precariously carved under towering cliffs. Please forgive me, I know I mispronounced every word of that. Traversing a road such as this is scary enough, but add to that the fact that the entire route cuts through regions that are region-prone to avalanches, heavy snowfall, strong winds, and landslides. I don't think I need to elaborate just how terrifying that is. Travelers going along this road can also expect unpaved roads, steep drops, and loose surface of a narrow, rocky track. Sure, an all-wheel drive vehicle with high ground clearance will help you with some of the challenges along the way, but be careful not to take a trip on this road too lightly. Conditions here are so bad between November and April that the route is completely closed. Number 6. Fairy Meadows Road, Pakistan. With a name like Fairy Meadows Road, you'd think that this kind of road would present its travelers a smooth and comfortable ride, right? Well, you couldn't be more wrong. This 10-mile stretch of road reaches heights of 3,300 meters above sea level, and as it has become standard for all the roads in today's list, has no guardrails whatsoever. It was first carved out of the mountainside by locals hundreds of years ago, and the road hasn't even an ounce of maintenance work ever since. It starts at the Karakoram Highway, which is yet another perilous road to travel, and ends in the village of Tato. At its narrowest point, which stretches for about 6 uneven, unforgiving miles, it's barely wide enough to let a 4x4 pass through. Money's being raised by the Fairy Meadows toll to fund eventual resurfacing work, but for now it's still one of the wildest, most dangerous roads in the world, and has already claimed countless lives over the centuries. Number 5. Zojila Pass, India. The Zojila Pass, or Zojila Pass as it's sometimes known, can be found 3,528 meters up in the Himalayas. The road connects the people of Ladakh to Kashmir Valley via a one-lane, often barrierless trail, which hugs some of the tallest mountains in the world. People suffering from vertigo will already find taking this high road really daunting, even without the ever-present risk of landslides falling on your head, which regularly happens here, by the way. Aside from that, Zhojiala is often covered in snow, anywhere between 15 and 24 meters deep, which takes the Border Roads organization in the region up to 2 months to clear. Heavy amounts of people being stranded here by heavy snow is a common occurrence. In fact, in 2009, clearing efforts couldn't prevent the need to rescue 350 people stranded on the road thanks to heavy snowfall. But getting snowed in would be the least of your worries here. This road gets notoriously slippery, snow or no snow. For instance, in 2012, 11 tourists were killed as their vehicle skidded off the barrierless pass into a deep gorge, so obviously take this one with extreme care. Number 4. Sichuan-Tibet Highway, China. The Sichuan-Tibet Highway is located in one of the remotest parts of the world and is deemed to be one of the deadliest. Reputation for danger aside, a lot of people still travel on this road, most of them tourists because it's also touted to be one of the most scenic drives in Asia. This incredibly long highway connects Chengdu and Sichuan with Lhasa and Tibet, passing through an area known as Kham. The road is open for most of the year, except for days with really bad weather conditions, especially in winter. But the threat of falling rocks and landslides will always hover around those who are courageous enough to traverse long stretches of highways. It also winds its way around towering peaks, often causing vomit-spewing altitude sickness in travelers. Along the way, numerous Buddhist monasteries, red-robed Buddhists and herds of yaks can be seen. The road was built between 1950 and 1954, and since then, many thousands of people have died while traveling on this road. In fact, there's a shocking 7,500 deaths for every 100,000 drivers. Number 3. Karakoram Highway, Pakistan and China. Built as high as 15,000 feet above sea level and under very rough conditions, Karakoram Highway is often considered the 8th wonder of the world, although it's not really official. But I gotta say, I understand why. Construction on the road started in 1966 and took 13 long years to complete, and was finally finished in 1979. Despite that, it wasn't open to the public until 1986. This dangerous road covers more than 800 miles, and at least in some places, follows the old historic Silk Road. Cutting through the most mountainous regions in the world, the Karakoram Highway is beset with a plethora of hazards, which include rockfalls, landslides, avalanches, flooding, snowdrifts, reckless drivers, herds of animals, precipitous cliffs, and terrible storms. Interestingly enough, the road meanders through the Hansa Valley, the scene of James Hilton's Lost Horizon, a novel about the mythical Shangri-La, a harmonious place where people live for centuries. Aside from the danger of freezing to death, you also face desolation and having no people around, loneliness. Find out where this road is next with number 2, Dalton Highway, Alaska. The Dalton Highway is no ordinary highway. It's considered to be one of the most dangerous highways in the world and was featured in the 2011 British television series World's Most Dangerous Roads, and with good reason. It has no population along the way, making it probably also the loneliest road. It has zero cell phone coverage, no cafes, and despite the fact that it follows a pipeline conveying over 700,000 barrels of oil per day, there's only 3 gas stations along its 667 kilometers of land. It is one of the world's most northernmost road ends. Many who have driven the Dalton Highway have called it the ultimate road trip. Due to the remoteness of the Dalton Highway, take special care to ensure that your vehicle is ready for the trip. The James W. Dalton Highway is a 2-lane gravel road that stretches for about 414 miles between the Elliott Highway just north of the city of Fairbanks and Deadhorse near the Prudhoe Bay oil fields and the Arctic Ocean. 109 miles of the highway are sealed, and the road itself is very primitive in places, and small vehicles and motorcycle traffic is highly discouraged. Number 1. Yungas Road, Bolivia. If one of your friends asks you to tag along on a road trip that will pass through a place called the Road of Death, would you tag along? Knowing a lot of you probably. Starting in La Paz and stretching all the way to Corioco, the Road of Death is almost 50 miles of 1-lane road, which features vertical drops of as much as 3,000 feet into the Amazon rainforest below. Even more horrifying, the road has over 200 hairpin turns. Up until 1994, nearly 300 travelers lost their lives on this road annually. Numerous makeshift memorials can be seen in places where hapless folks have plunged over precipices and gone crashing down into the jungle ravines below. Fortunately, though, the worst part of the road has been bypassed by a 2-lane paved road, diminishing vehicle traffic on the most dangerous sections. But cyclists still challenge the Road of Death, some dying in the process, of course, but that's their choice. Would you be brave enough to travel any of these roads? Let us know in the comments down below. Also, make sure to check out the channel's other amazing videos. As always, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Later, everybody!